Today's commentary from the other side of the tracks is entitled "A National Anthem is Not a National Test." From the other side of the tracks. Now, it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, if there's no clause, amendment, or article saying that you have to, you don't have to, right? I mean, obviously, that's not the case. Now, if I choose not to salute the flag, where in the U.S. Constitution does it say I have to, that I must? I mean, is there a test for citizenship in this country? And if there is for a citizen born here, then I failed it. But it's become abundantly clear that many millions of Americans are failing it too. What I fear more so is that black NFL players will also fail their citizenship test in caving into the so-called Donald Trump's call out to NFL owners to fire players who don't stand for the national anthem. Now, the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution protects one's rights to freedom of speech. So why are so-called red-blooded Americans echoing the white nationalist call, demanding that players be punished for exercising their First Amendment rights to speak by not standing when that racist-ass song is played? The U.S. Constitution does not demand that I do that. Even more, if I don't stand or take a knee, how does that harm you? Now, the bogus claim that not standing for the national anthem disrespects the troops is so damn tired and overused that it's comparable to fingernails scraping a blackboard. Factually speaking, and I do mean factually, those who have fought and sacrificed as soldiers, sailors, and air persons did so to protect an American's right to protest or to partake of any of the rights enshrined in the U.S. Constitution. Any reference to the troops is nothing more than a distraction and an attempt to draw another constituency into this debate who had no dog in the fight. Donald Trump needs to gather more support for his untenable position. Now, with him seeing himself in the commander-in-chief role, he's simply enlisting military personnel once again to do his bidding. My hope is that they see that using them as pawns in Trump's proxy war against blacks of America is a divide and conquer tactic that one should recognize from a football field away. Pardon the pun. Protesting injustice is in no way disrespectful. What is disrespectful is that white people ignore the lives of black people in this country. What is disrespectful is that juries continue to acquit white people when they kill unarmed black people in this country. Now, what is disrespectful is that prosecutors across this country choose not to charge police officers when they shoot and kill unarmed, and in some cases armed people, black people in this country. One must understand that that's what taking a knee is about. Disrespecting the humanity of another human being is never respectful. From all appearances and occurrences, that is the objective of the Trump administration. That's the illustrative culmination of Take Our Country Back. It is indeed disheartening and disconcerting to see this Take Our Country Back movement grow from its rerootment over the past decade. But if history is any indicator of future events, it'll lose steam after the proponents of this position are cannibalized by its own leadership. It's just a matter of time. But the real question is this: do we have time? Each day, each week, each month that goes by, we're being attacked, violated, and killed. The long-range objective is to emasculate, denigrate, and eventually exterminate black people of this country, which begins with black power. Now, from the great American melting pot, it is paramount among whites. My greatest hope in all of this is that the young black men who play American professional sports don't relent. My hope is that the players' union, this union that represents players, stands up for its players. Now, my hope is that these young men, and many of them are millionaires, stand united, black, white, or indifferent, even to the point of a Supreme Court challenge. Defensive and fearful conservative intellectuals of this country know that that's an eventuality. That's the reason, the one reason, for the conspiratorial gains fought so hard to win elected office. Why they're so very consequential to those of us who seek a fair and equitable society. Jurisdictional gerrymandering, voter suppression, and voter disenfranchisement are all tactical strategies toward appointing judges, ultimately Supreme Court judges, that will rule in favor of the corporate class of this country. Like that tax cut. Now, when the day comes that NFL players, more specifically Colin Kaepernick, makes his case of collusion before the Supreme Court, his chances are doomed. For conservatives have placed enough anti-humanity, anti-democratic, pro-corporate idealists on the bench that constitutional and democratic values will be crushed. Now, my hope is also that the cries, and I do mean cry, because Trump is the biggest baby ever, to fire players are ignored and eventually marginalized. So far, the Players Union, with the players taking leadership roles, are working hard to convince the owners that their best interests are in supporting the players. These men are probably the highest paid slaves of any plantation. No, my intent is not to disparage them, nor discourage them, but to uplift them. They must realize that their acquiescence to a Trumpian call is their death. Whether one is an activist, a political, or an ordinary citizen, people across this country are recognizing that attempts at patriotizing, or even worse, marginalizing NFL players is not only wrong, but indeed unconstitutional. If my grandson, who plays organized sports, chooses to take a knee and not give deference to that racist-ass national anthem, no coach, no school administrator, nor so-called president better mess with him. Because if they do, I'll be on their ass. We were born into this God-forsaken country, and there shall not be a test for me to be a part of it. Socially speaking.
The other side.
And that was a Socially Speaking commentary by Perry Red from The Other Side of the Track.
The other side.
The other side of the track.